All right, there we go. I was waiting for somebody to call in before I unmuted the call and get this party started. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33. And today's Wednesday, January the 12th, 2022. 22 at the time. Time is 1:18 Central Time. As always, brothers and sisters, we've got to blow some cookies today. Today we'll get to reveal, explain, illuminate, and simplify. We started the universe, or they started the metaverse back on April the 5th of 1933. The metaverse is the Strawman. So this is the public version of the private show that we'll be doing later on tonight. So for all of my non-members of the People Development Center and current members, remember you guys, it's $1,000 for each module. It's on sale for $500. Some of you guys were fortunate to get in at $250. So for everybody that hasn't paid for module number 2, this information will not be available to you. We're on day 15. So the day we start destroying or exposing the fictional world, the rules of the fictional world. So I haven't really said anything about it because some people paid $250 way back in, last year. That $250 you paid covered module 1. We're almost through with module number 2. And for some people who have not paid the $250 or the $500, you will not have access to tonight's information or going further. So you will not be receiving any emails from me. So don't text me or call me because I'm explaining to you why you're not receiving any emails, not only the free stuff or the paid stuff. This message is the stuff that you get kicked off of TikTok, off of YouTube like I did. This information that we're sharing now, again, today's just an introduction. That's why I'm doing it. So that way everybody that's listening to me can understand that upon this government, and there shall be no end. Because this government is upon his shoulders. So the government knows that the government is on his shoulders. So what the government has done is took the government off of his shoulders, and the government put the government on their shoulders. So we get to I get to break down step by step how, because this is the rules of the game. So that way you can understand how to govern, be fruitful, and multiply. Then we get into control and replenish. Manage leads to subdue. Leading leads to dominion. And so this is Strmineus Homo, which in Latin, Stramineus Homo is a Latin phrase which means one of no substance. Man of the straw. And we are already in the metaverse. It's very interesting how whoever they are telling us that we're going into the metaverse like it's new. And people are buying NFTs and like it's new. And it's interesting that people are thinking that the metaverse and tokens and everything that's going on is like this just started. Most people don't know that this started back in April the 5th of 1933 with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And the metaverse was started, or let me put it this way, the ability for you to buy tokens or to create assets started when they allowed you, but you didn't know, because the only thing that trumps the Constitution is a contract that you make between you and Lucifer, or Strmineus Homos. Because remember, there's Homo Magnon, there's Homo erectus, there's Homo gargantuan, there's Homo sapiens. There are 8 types of homos, man or kind. I break all of this down inside of my book, The Ontological History of Homo erectus, where we get Strmineus Homos. And to the degree that you can understand, overstand, and understand. Now, what I am proposing is not for you to do with the dominant culture, like some people do this and they try to go to court, or they drive with no driver's license and they show that they are native citizens, all of this stuff that the Moors do. I don't do that. I'm not against the government. I'm not trying to fight the government. I'm not trying to do any of the stuff that's the dominant culture, because they know that's how you get shot, black man, black woman, if you don't over understand that these are man-made fictitious rules that govern, again, this fictitious universe. So we live in you are like a fictional character inside of a fictional play that's called the metaverse. You don't live in the metaverse. You're not part of the metaverse. This is just a fictional world. You are a actor. But I got to give you all of the proof with $100,000 on the line if you can prove me wrong. I will come out, like I said, I'll fly, drive, whatever I got to do to get to you and give you $100,000 if you are high vibrational enough to prove me wrong. Because one thing about these good old boys down Chump, these good old boys, they don't play. They don't play when it comes to controlling chi, prana, and pneuma. The good old boys know that if you are Alkebulan, you have extra DNA strands in your DNA. Now, I'm saving that nugget for when we get to Module 5. When we get to Module 5, it's going to be rough. It's going to be liberating, but it's going to be rough, because then you will see that you are a photon, that if you can use a phonon, you can create matter instantly like the Egyptians did. Now, I know, so what are you saying, Doc? I'm saying that if you use light, and if you, from a place of light, look at the word light, that light means not having no weight. So the word illumination, now remember, the Egyptians, this is how they built the pyramids. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I need you to understand why I'm so excited. And I need you to understand why I don't have bad days. I need you to understand why we had basically $1 million house, verbal contract, and then we lost $1 million house when somebody came in with a written contract. Now, I need you to understand. So now I could use this, what I'm getting ready to tell you, to override that, but I would have to drop down in frequency in order to be able to engage and override the Constitution with a contract between me and Strmineus humanus. Now, if you choose to vibrate on that level, you must deal with that devil. But it's up to you. So I chose not to vibrate on that level. I just chose that, I'm going to operate. So what does that mean? That means that I'm going to operate above constitutional law, contract law, and I'm operating in phonon law. So I'm a photon. I'm going to use light. I'm going to use a phonon sound to create what you and I call mass or matter, which is nothing but a photo. Now, to the degree that you can over and understand the state that I'm in, then you can understand that you too are a photon. Now, this is deep. This is deep chemistry. So a photon must attach to a phonon. Then the photon that's attached to a phonon creates a photo. And then you add the word graph. So the graph, so that means that you can use graphics. That's what's called a photograph. Now remember, inside of Matthew chapter 23, I got $100 grand to the Negro, the non-Negro that can prove me wrong. In Matthew 23, it says, woe to you graph. They're called scripts. So if you have the ability to write a script, in the beginning was a script. The script was with God, and the script was God. So a script is a dumbed down sound, and a sound is a dumbed down light. So if you dumb God down, then you have the justification of your visualization, which is a written documentation of your manifestation. It is a written documentation of the manifestation. So as I told you, in my new house, I had everything written down. I had the size, had the ceiling, had the pool, but I didn't write down the issue that we had with the house. What was the issue? There was no issue, but I didn't write down price or monthly payment or interest rate. That's the only thing I don't have written down that I didn't write down 6 months before the house showed up. Just like with my wife, I did not write down age or children. So when I met my wife, there's a big age difference between me and my wife because I didn't write the shit down. And when I met my wife, her children was babies. But why? I didn't write it down. So the universe is like, well, we're going to fill in the blank for you. So if you don't fill in the blank, graphite. If you don't graph, if you don't script, then the photon fills in the script. So what you write creates the pixels. That's why it says in Habakkuk 2:2, take the vision. That's a photo or a photon. Write that shit down. That creates pixels. Now, what I'm about to tell you again, y'all do with it what you want. I don't recommend you posting this shit on Facebook and other social media places. This will get your account. You be in the same boat I'm in. And it's just going to allow you, it's just another hurdle that you're creating for yourself. It's like, I don't recommend you take this shit and go try to fight the IRS. How long you been doing it? How long the IRS been around? The IRS has a collection process. We'll talk about the word IRS. Right there in the word internal. Damn, we can stop there. Woo-wee. First of all, it's part of the Department of Treasury. We can stop there. Show's over. Internal. Revenue. Service. So I want to serve revenue internally. Like I posted today on Facebook. If you crack a shell from the outside, you create death. Death. If you crack the shell from the inside, you create light, life, love, lit. So the kingdom of God is inside. It ain't outside. You got to use the shit inside of you to crack the shell so that you can go outside. If you use PDC, Creflo Dollar, you get outside shit and you try to use it, you are dead. But you're not dead, boo-boo. You're dead. You're a strong man. The strong man is the metaverse. Source code. Test the mind, will, imagination, and intellect of your people that they can over and understand what thus says the word of the big G. Now, the big G is supposed to be operating your chi, but they, whoever they are, they created a cistern or a system called the metaverse. Now, metaverse uses a non-fungible token. It is a unique digital identifier that cannot be copied, substituted, or subdivided. And this digital identifier is recorded on a blockchain, like they did with the slaves. So the slaves were the first certificate of authenticity of ownership. So the slaves were assigned a specific digital graph which controls their photons and their phonons. Now, I've got to go, this intro today, a non-fungible token. It is a digital asset. Period. Drop the mic, exit the stage. So are you. So somebody has a digital ownership. Now, digital, this is what I had to get you from analog to digital. They had this shit planned. So let's go all the way back when all this shit started. When did this start? Well, the big G put himself inside of you. So the little G, you're like, damn, how do I control the big G? Well, in general, If we go to Webster's Third International Dictionary, it tells us that a principle is a general or fundamental truth or rule. It is a basic or primary source of material energy. A principle is not an action step. A principle is the animating principle. Principle is the animating source or the fundamental truth that allows the action to be taken. So a principle, which is what we talk about, rules. Rules are principles. There are 5 principles that we're breaking down. These are the 5 principles. I don't use the word pillars of heaven. The word pillar is another word for principle. I need you to understand. So there are 5 principles that, in order for me to put heaven on earth, I need to know these 5 principles. That's what we're doing. That's why we're breaking down, in order for you to understand that you are a people development specialist, which makes you a purpose development specialist, which makes you a product development specialist. So that way you can have a profit development. This is the purpose. You are a development specialist. So the 5 pillars are really 5 principles. We're on principle number 2. And principle number 2 is God said, let there be light. Bam! That was light. So now I got to control what you say. So I'm going to teach you a whole different way of saying. So whatever you say is a saying is a seance. Y'all are nothing but professional seancers. We all are what they call magi or magicians. We are all switchcraft. So they switched the craft. Now you are a witch. So a saying is a seance. Now remember, what we're talking today is the art of saying. And so we've got to change what you say, because what you're saying, you're performing a seance. Now, if I can change what you are saying, then I will change your seance. These are the pillars, which are the principles of the straw man. The straw man is the fake you. The straw man is the metaverse you. So there's another you, there's a digital version of you in a fictitious world somewhere out there. That's not the real world. That's not the real you. So in this fictitious world, you use digital assets. Those are called NFTs. And so they are introducing you to this construct of an NFT, but history is a lie. Religion is a control system. Money is a hoax. Debt is fiction. The media is manipulation. The government is a corporation. This whole system is a lie. You got to wake up. You see? Wake up. But I got to assist you with waking up. I just can't say it. So President Delano Roosevelt did something. It's called HJR 192. Now, I can't go over that here, but tonight I will break it down for you so I can give you this overstanding of the UCC. Now, the UCC won't get you permanently banned. Your account will just be flagged. So the UCC gave us something called the acceptance of value, or the accepted for value affidavit. We're going to break that down tonight. It also gave us the discharge of debt. We're going to break that down tonight. It also gave us the affidavit of sovereignty. We're going to break that down tonight, or over the next days. Now remember, tonight's class is only for the people who've paid in full or who've already paid for module number 2. If you was fortunate enough to make the payment back in October or November, then you're locked in at $250. If not, you have to pay $500. Each module is $500. They're supposed to be $1,000. But you know what? I'm a nice guy. Because if you don't get this information from me, then y'all think that the House Joint Resolution of the 93rd Congress that was revised in 1973, but was originally crafted in 1933. It was revised, I should say, in what did I say? I think I gave you the wrong date. It was revised in 1973, but it was written in 1993 by President Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, what I'm explaining to you is on June the 5th of 1933, Congress enacted HJR, House Joint Resolution 192. It suspended the gold standard, and it adopted what is called the Golden Clause. Emphasis on the word gold, because there are three things that control and governs everything: the golden rule, the golden means, and the golden ratio. Congress, they needed to control those three, because the three controls, or the three go into one. So the true Trinity that your church will tell you is, number one, the golden rule. Number two of the Trinity, the real one, is golden means. M-A-M-E-A-N-S. Golden means. And that lastly, we have the golden ratio. That's the true 3 in 1. What you have been taught is the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So these good old boys had to figure out how do I control, which we're going to be breaking down in Module 3. This is kind of an introduction to a deeper ability for you to replenish, get out of the straw man by using what we did in Module 1, which is self-government. Right now, it's the government of, or the government over the people. After we finish all 5 modules, then we're going to reverse engineer, and we're going to go back and we're going to look at Module 5, Module 4, Module 3, Module 2, Module 1. What we are doing in 2022 at the People Development Center is something that you've never been taught. It doesn't exist in this form nowhere on the internet that I've found. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that I haven't found it. So this is part of the Nesara. Now, the Nesara, or the Nesara Geshara, which is spelled Nesara, Gesara. It is the National Economic Safety and Recovery Act. Back in the 1990s, I think. Anyway, that was an executive order that authorizes the implementation of sanctions that were set forth to counter America's sanctions against its own people. So that was a specific International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And again, I'm saying all of these acts so that way for the people that are not, who don't really engage in the deeper understandings, you guys can look this up, or who are not part of the People Development Center moving forward. So again, module number 2 is if you paid back in October of last year, then you're locked in at $250. If not, each module is $500. At the end of this month, it should be $1,000, but at the end of this month, it goes to $1,000. So when I'm all said and done, this entire system will sell for $5,000. It's $1,000 for each module. So you can get it in. I mean, you can get all of this stuff at a reduced cost. So what are you saying, Doc? Well, your boy Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, added something called the National Emergencies Act when he signed Executive Order 13660 on March the 6th of 2014. He expanded the scope of Executive Order 13660 694. Then he signed another executive order, 13757. Now, you can look at all of these executive orders. What is the point? Well, a lot of people saw Donald J. as the great, I'm going to use the word, white hope, or the fulfillment of the ghost spell of the gospel. And he is. From the perspective of understanding, at the last sound, at the last trump, the dead in Christ shall arise. So Donald Trump ushered in the Great Awakening because this is Luke 17:22. When you see the man with the pitcher of water, water represents life. Go into the city represents the cell. Follow him, not the Trump. Donald Trump is just what? Exactly what the Bible says he is. What does the Bible say Donald Trump is? He's the last sound. That means the Piscean age is over. The age of you been governed by some other mother, then yourself shit's over, bruh. Now, whether you choose to activate or follow the man with the pitcher of water, hey, that's on you. But as for me, myself, and I, all three of us, we're activating the power of language. And now I'm in the role of the governor. So now I have instructional power that comes from my gut. It goes up to my heart, it is amplified, and then my brain carries it out. So now I have self-government. Now, we spent 21 days explaining that in order for you to have fruit, you have to have self-government. Now, people ask me, Doc, how do you do? I technically write a book a day. How? I do 3 shows a day. How? I work out 2-3 times a day. How? I do dear canary reports every day. How? I do one-on-ones. How? So I got way more inner chi than everybody else. How? Well, I'm connected to Source. Source is all powerful. That's one of the omnis. There's 5 omnis. He's all knowing, he's all power, he's all present, all simple, all loving. That's inside of the book, The Standard. So I am the standard. So are you, though. We're all standards. We're all individual expressions of the standard, but we're not ruling and reigning over reality. We are part of, we are in the metaverse. So you got to come out of the metaverse. In other words, you got to stop being an NPC that uses NFT. Why would you use an NFT? The IRS has a program. And the IRS program is called a Notice of Lien Preparation and Filing, NFT. Don't tell nobody I told you. Don't tell nobody I told you. Now, that's as far as I can go without getting my, new, which is the old YouTube channel, banned also, is to help you understand what we're going to be breaking down tonight, which is the Federal Tax Lien, NFT. But they told you that an NFT was a non-fungible token. Now, if you go to the IRS code 6323, it'll break it for you high vibrational Negroes that's not a part of the People Development Center. Just look all out. So I'm just giving you all the documentation so you can do the research yourself. You got to understand the Federal Tax Lien. So there's a federal tax if you are a lien. L-I-E-N. If you lien, depend on the government, I got to tax you, homie. So the government is the lien holder. You are the lien, though. So you don't have to be the lien. You just chose to be the lien when you signed the contract. That's above the Constitution. But we don't need to operate with the Constitution or contract. We can operate with communication or connection with the source. So consciousness trumps the Constitution and the contract law. So we must understand that there is a law enforcement information network. But don't tell nobody I told you this. This is high level shit. This will have the black van show up at your house. So you think a lien is a form of security interest granted over property in order to secure payment of debt. Now, that little number on the bottom of your Social Security document, that puts you inside of the Law Enforcement Information Network. Don't tell nobody I told you. Don't tell nobody I told you. They ask you where you get this shit from. Don't throw me under the bus, bruh. To tell people, hey, where you get this shit from? Oh, I just looked it up. Or a little birdie told me. You a lean, homie. But you don't know. I mean, not you personally, but people know. So the Law Enforcement Information Network. Now, I know all of this stuff way back in the 70s when I was part of Build Freedom. That's another study for another time. All of those people are now dead or in prison. Ask Wesley. He'll tell you. He was part of the same organization. Why do you think Wesley Snipes went to prison? Why do you think he can't get a major role in Hollywood no more? The Negro decided to declare himself a sovereign. What happened to him? Well, that's another study for another time. So you are an L-E-I-N. L, law. E, enforcement. I, information. N, network. I got to remember the definition of the lien, though. You also got to remember the definition of an NFT. Because they're telling you now that an NFT is a non-fungible token. Because remember, these are terms that Mark Zuckerberg is coming out with. Now, Zuckerberg is saying he's the creator of the metaverse. The metaverse was created by John D. Rockefeller back in the 1870s, somewhere back then. But it was put into paper or stone or introduced to the people by your boy, John Roosevelt. Not Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, back in 1933. Notice how the definitions, the letters stay the same, but the words change. That's called grammaria. That's called switch, the craft. We call it witch, the craft. So witchcraft is grammaria or grammatus. You are a witch or a wizard. You are a law enforcement information. You're part of the Law Enforcement Information Act, which is a lien. So you are a lien. Now, someone has an official order that allows someone else to keep you as property because you owe them money. So you are a lien until you pay. How do you pay? With your labor. That's why you got a job. Not you personally, but you know. But you pay taxes to the what? Internal Revenue Service. So that's a service that allows me to revenge your internals. Because why? That's where the kingdom of God is at. So I got to get access to your chi. I got legal access to your chi. Why? You signed a contract. But the contract is your birth certificate. Did you sign it, though? So this contract is enforced by the Constitution. And the Constitution is informed or by the Correctional Department, which I used to be a part of. Unless you can connect or reconnect your consciousness by canceling the contract, the Constitution, and the correction, because what's wrong with you? Why do you need correction, brother? See, a correction is something that is crooked. I need to correct. Well, you got a connection, consciousness, communication with source. So communication with source allows you and gives you the justification of the visualization of the written documentation that equals manifestation. Now, tonight we break down Stramineus Homanos, HJR 192. Now, remember, I will personally give you $100,000 if you can prove to me that the definition of the Latin phrase Stramineus Homanos, which means man of no substance, or wombed man of no substance, or straw man, is incorrect. 100 grand. I said, I'll drive to you wherever you at, fly, and personally hand you a check. If you can prove to me any of the IRS documents, any of the documents that I've read so far is null and void or not correct. If you can prove to me that what I am saying is not a seance, again, I will give you 100 grand. So every day you perform a seance, which is what we now call science. So you think that science, which is nothing but a seance or seance or writ, which makes you right, which is a result of right, which is why I have 300 books. Because I understand the power of the writ. When we get the word graph or script, that's why a photograph, so graph, photo. Whoever is graphic, whoever is a graphic artist, whoever can make symbols and sigils with their saying is performing a seance, which is science or science. To the degree or the lack of degree that you are able to understand science is a seance based upon saying, nigga, you the king of the world. You can run the show. But how many people you know the metaphysics of a science or the metaphysics of science, seance, and saying? Because why? In the beginning was the Word. The Word, what is the Word saying? It's saying what it's saying. It's an official order that allows someone to keep everybody else's property. So you, my B-I-T-C-H. I mean, not you personally, but because you know. So what are you saying, Doc? What are you saying? I need this shit in English. Well, they telling you that the metaverse is coming out. Nigga, the metaverse has been out since 1876. Actually, before that, 1776. When did the metaverse start? June. When did it become official in writing? June the 5th, 1933. Congress enacted HJR, House Joint Resolution 192. I give you 100 grand if you can prove me wrong. But what does that mean, though, Doc? What does that mean in English? Well, that means the UCC Article number 9. Now, remember, tonight, we're going to spend the next 7 days breaking all of this down. I'm going to take these 7 days. I'm going to turn it into a book. That's going to make me about another 100 grand. All for this. Why? Well, the shit I'm getting ready to say over the next 7 days, you've never heard before. You've never seen it in writing. You've never seen it in this order. These are the 5 pillars. The word pillow is code for the word principle. Heaven, the word heaven is code for the word head. These are the 5 principles that control your head. So that means mind control. You cannot escape it. This is what they do to you. I just reverse engineered it. Now, your job is to understand, number one, you got to try to prove me wrong. That's your job. See, 1993 was the most important year because 1933. Do anybody know? I posted it on Facebook today. Anybody know the significance of the number 33? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. Anybody? Well, if you look on my Facebook page, you will see the significance of the number 33. Now, in order for you to be, you have to understand the significance of me. Now, I didn't ask to be put in this frequency, this wave or this vibration, to my knowledge. Now, like everybody else, I could have drunk from the sea of forgetfulness, which probably did happen. So what is the significance of the number 33? Well, we know the number 33 is 1/3 of a 360 degrees. So there's 3/3. There's 1/3, then there's 2/3, and then there's 3/3. There's 3 of 3. So you need all 3. Remember? Science, seance, sayings. All 3. All 3. You need all 3, bro. You need all 3. You need all 3. You need all 3. You need spirit. You need natural or nature and man. You need spiritual law. You need natural law. You need man-made law. So now I'm getting ready to destroy Strmineus, Humanos, which is the man-made fictional character that puts you inside of the fictional universe. I'm going to destroy it with focus, discipline, and order, or Father, Son, and Spirit, or 432 hertz, 528 hertz, 345 hertz, or 9, 6, and 3, or cosmology, theology, biology, or this is the law of 3 we're going through, or steam, water, and ice, or love, hope, and faith, or spirit, soul, and body, or generator, operator, director, or programmer, software, operating system, computer, or body. And I can keep going on and on with the law of three, which allows you to be. If you do not understand the law of three, you cannot be. Just the state of the average Al-Shibila. If you do not understand the law of three, you cannot be. That's why most people are not being. Remember, being means to exist. So a God is a being. A God is somebody who has figured this shit out. So I'm a God. So are you. But you may be a God of a lesser deity. So you want to be the supreme G. So the Masons think Lucifer is the supreme G. So I know the Plaroma or the Plaru. Because Samael, the blind god, became known as Lucine Far. But Samael had a mama and a daddy. The mama's name was what some call wisdom or Sophia or Strmineus. Sophia is the feminine expression. And then the Plaroma or the Plaru is the masculine expression. So the number 33 is the longitude line across all cultures on the globe. There's a, go to Google and type in 33rd parallel. So in numerology, 33 is the most significant number of all the numbers. Why? It indicates selfless devotion to the spiritual process or progress of humanity. That's why I'm here. So 33 is the number of enlightenment and rebirth. 33 is the number of the parallel, which goes from the north all the way to Atlantis. Now, Atlantis, let's never study for another time. Because Atlantis is now under the ocean. So you can't see Atlantis, but it's still there. Now, the dominant culture, they know where it's at. It's on the 33rd parallel. Now, it is located in this mysterious place that's called the Bermuda Triangle. So the Bermuda Triangle, the 33rd longitudinal line goes right through the Bermuda Triangle. It goes right through Phoenix. It goes right through Atlanta. And it's located over what they call the North 33rd parallel. This parallel is also known as the road to Damascus. It is the longest, or there's really a city called Damascus, by the way, which is the oldest and the longest city in Mesopotamia. It is considered the cradle of civilization. Remember, who was it? Paul was on the road to Damascus. Peter. He got knocked off his horse. Remember, source goes, why do you persecute me? Remember, he was blinded, which represents what? Enlightenment. So, Roswell, New Mexico, all the events. Roswell is right located, the 33rd parallel goes right through Roswell. Why? The 33rd parallel line is supposedly, according to the ancient text, that is the ley line, the dragon line of God. That's why it runs from north to south. Because the upwards expanse of the north. Lucifer said, I'm going to sit on the sides of the north. So Lucifer said, I'm going to sit on the 33rd parallel. That's why it's always associated with Freemasonry. So if you understand that all of the Phoenician cities were located on the 33rd degree parallel. Right now, today, modern day Baghdad in Iraq, remember I told you guys the first thing that they did, General Schwarzkopf, I was in active duty military at the time. The first thing that we did in Gulf War I, we went straight to Saddam's palace. Saddam was Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated. So he said himself. He said he was a modern day Nebuchadnezzar. Saddam, the first thing that we did, we went to Saddam's palace and took what? All of his ancient artifacts. There was no, smoking gun. There was no, bombs of mass destruction or weapons of mass destruction. Weapons mass destruction. WMD. Ooh, no study for that time. Take the W, turn it around. Take the M, turn it around. WW3. Weapons of mass destruction. The World Wide Web is what? So, www. The Internet is World War III. www. 3, world. Now, let's say for another time, though. There are 3 in Egypt. There's some shit in stone, and it's 3 lines. Each line is a W. W is a wave. W is a frequency. W is a vibration. You don't really want to really know what the real W means. That's why my name, first name, starts with a W. Now, I need you to understand, because Baghdad, Babylon, right now is the ancient city of Mesopotamia. And that's where the banks of the Euphrates River, which the Bible talks about as the Garden of Eden, is located. Now, I will go further into the significance of who I am as being Bezalel, or the 33rd expression, but that's another study for another time. Y'all not here to hear about me. I need you to know about what happened in 1933. Emphasis on the word 1 and 9 is 1. 33, again, is 6. So this is the first 3. So on June the 5th, January, February, March, April, May, June. The month of June is what? Anybody born in June? What does June mean? Wisdom. But what type of wisdom? Masculine wisdom? Animalistic wisdom? Luciferian wisdom? What does it mean? Feminine wisdom. Why feminine wisdom? Because Sophia chose to have an expression without the masculine energy, according to the ancient text. That's how we got Samael, the blind God. Because you're blind if you got one expression without the other. You can't have feminine wisdom and no masculine wisdom. You can have masculine wisdom and no feminine. You need both. So in 1933, the constitutional contract and communication with God or gold was outlawed. Can you believe that? So let me make sure I understand. June the 5th of 1993, the United States Congress passed House Joint Resolution 192. It was a declaration of bankruptcy of the United States of America. So the Congress declared in HJR 192, that's ready for another time, that the way to get out of that was to demand payment in gold. Because gold is God with Lucifer in it. Gold is G-O-D with L, which is Lucifer in it. Gold is God with Lucifer injected. That's why you got to get the Lucifer jab now. I got to put the death jab. Because Lucifer represents death, D-E-B-T. So everybody's talking about people going to be dying? No, people going to be dead. That's what this is about. Now, I know this is just the intro for tonight. Make sure that you make your payment. Module 2, totally private. There will be no freebies for the next 7 days. If you have not paid the full, which was back in October, which was $1K. Now, the full is $2K. After this month, the full is going to be $5K. If you just want to just get Module 2, $500. Each module is $500. It used to be $250, but that ended last year. So if you have not paid the $500, each module is $500 by themselves. You get a discount if you pay it in full. That's why it's only $2K instead of $2.5. Now, if you don't get this module, remember today's the intro. Tonight, we go hardcore in the paint. We destroy everything that you've been taught. Literally. Now, remember, this is the shit that put me in a fetal position for 6 months. This is why I quit my job. I became homeless. I was walking around sipping soup out of a straw. So that's why I got to break it down for you, though, so that way it don't F you up the way that it did me. Because an NFT is a long-term impact on the taxpayer. It's a federal tax lien. As I said before, NFT means Notice of Federal Tax Lien. NFT. But they telling you NFT, go get NFTs. Go be a part of the metaverse. Yeah, go on out there. Get on the blockchain, bruh. Get on that blockchain. That's the same shit that's how you're a mental slave. I'm not you personally, but you know. So now I need to make you, this is taking you deeper. Remember, Dante's Inferno, 9 levels of hell. I'm taking you deeper into hell, whoever they are. So the all caps is a straw man that requires a maritime certificate. Now, again, this is source code touch the minds of your people. This is what they call the game of commerce. This is what they call the debt discharge. This is what the dominant culture has established when they established the Federal Information Act, FOLA, which simply means that after HJR 192, they created a NPC, non-player character, inside of a fictional game that has a fictitious. This is all metaverse. You think the metaverse is rolling out right now. Only that they're doing is they're just telling you what they've already done. So the United States government is a foreign corporation. It is a fictitious state that works on what they call digital assets, the ability to move digits from one side of a ledger to another. See, a living person exists in a living world, not a fictitious virtual reality world. The government does not exist in a living real world because the government, module 1, is self. But you have not developed the ability to govern the self, as we spent 21 days breaking down how to become a spiritual programmer and write your own software code so that way you can control your own hardware or body. So most people do not understand govern, not government. Government means mental govern. So the fruit of governing is self-govern, not government, not mental govern. So the amount of your fruit is determined by your capacity to govern cells or self. In a fictitious world, the government does not exist in the real world. It exists in a fictitious world. Therefore, it can only deal directly with fictitious or fictional or virtual people, agencies, and mental dispositions or states. So in order for a fictitious person to deal with a real person, there must be a connection, a constitution, and a contract. This is called contract law in Black's Law Book. If there is no connection via constitution and contract, then there is no liaison or go-between. There must be a contract between the real and the fictional. So when both persons, and the word person is not in the Bible, it's a fictitious, look at the Irish tax code. The real you is a royal priest. You're a saint. You're a joint heir. The real must have a liaison, a connection, a constitution, and a contract. Because I must use science, seance, and a saying to disconnect the connection you have with source via something called the con. I got the con, your institution, because you are a single standing column of waves in the side of what we said at the beginning of the show. Brothers and sisters, you are light. You are a photon. You use cymatics, which is called a phonon, a saying, to create what is called a photo. But the photo uses something called a graphic. A graphic. This is why it's called photographics or photography. This is residualism. This is a saying, a seance, and a science. Or this is called Homo erectus. I need to erect the Homo using Stramineus, Harmonus, or Homo in the Latin phrase. So you can be a fictitious person in my fictitious world. Once I create a liaison, an agreement between the real you and the fictitious you, by using a contract, I create a connection or intercourse in order to conduct dealings. Dealings, a lien. That's a bit of another term. I need to deal liens. That means I can now exchange or swap spit. Exchange. This is called busyness. We call it business. So the fictional government has the ability to deal liens, or to deal with the real. I cannot deal with the real unless I can reel, R-E-E-L. So I cannot deal with the real unless I can reel you in from within. You cannot win unless you reel. So I have this connection via the Constitution and via what is called contract law, maritime law. So the fictional government has the ability to deal with the real through the use of a liaison or a go-between. The liaison connects the fictional to the real. And it is created, if you will, using a fictional government and a fictional person. Who's this fictional person? Person. Like I have in my book, I am too human. The word person means water monster. It means Leviathan, spiritual monster. A person is created by using what is called an MCO. Don't tell nobody I told you this. Remember, don't tell nobody I told you. Strmineus Homonos is created by the manufacturer's certificate of origin, a MCO. You call it a birth certificate. A manufacturer's certificate of origin. A manufacturer's certificate of origin. Now remember, since we started, I've already wrapped the show up. All I've been doing is giving you dates and names. If you have not paid the $500 to continue, this is the introduction to a 7-part series that I'm going to turn into an audio book that I will be selling later for probably about some crazy number, because really you can't have everybody have access to this kind of information. So I'll probably be selling it for like $5,000. Why? Why, Doc? You should just help people out. People don't want help. They say they do, but they don't. How do I know they don't? Because of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23. God himself will send you a strong delusion. Why not? Why would God make you delusional? How come I'm not delusional? Well, the rest of the verse said, the only way you are delusional is because you don't have the love of the truth. You got the love of money, cars, big titties, and, you know, all the other stuff that comes with it. How do I know? Nigga, that used to be me. I used to love money and cars and houses and big titties too. Now, I still do. But I love something else more. Truth. Not King James. This shit is obvious. Something is wrong with this system. I could take the lottery. What was the last mega lottery? You know, the last mega lottery, they said if you took the last mega lottery, and if you divide it with every person in the planet, everybody would get like $1.2 million. Could you imagine? We could solve poverty instantly. But yet poverty still exists. Now, why in the world would you knowingly put all of the ingredients in everything from lotion to freaking, insect repellent spray, that DMT stuff that makes you have seizures that's in the insect spray, the fluoride in your toothpaste and in your water, the chemicals that's in your lotion, the naked mouth, everything on this earth is designed to make you die. Why would you do that, man? Why? Everything on earth is a lie. Now, I could read to you what my boy Billy Billy Carson talks about in Forbidden Knowledge, where he has documentation, shit in stone, where they said that every book in the world is fake and false, and he got proof, as do I, that everything that you've been taught from birth, especially religion, was created by the Dracos, which are the people underground over in Antarctica, which is why Admiral Byrd, I got $100,000, remember, everything I said today, I will give you $100,000 if you can prove anything that I said today is not true. Research Admiral Byrd. So why did Admiral Byrd go over there? This is called The Lost Diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the Phantom of the Poles. Don't believe me? Read the shit. Or read Admiral Byrd's Antarctica Diary. Before Admiral Byrd died, they sent him over there with a whole fleet of ships and boats and planes to supposedly destroy and kill the Dracos. That's why you cannot go to Antarctica. Nobody. So they couldn't kill him. These fools can shapeshift. You could be one. The people who are Dracos don't even know they're Dracos. That's because their brain been wiped. Now, you should say, oh, you should be like everybody else. Doc, this is some crazy conspiracy shit, man. I was with you, brother, but now you coming over to, come on, man, like most of my family members. Read The Lost Diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. I mean, this is just one thing of the cajillion. So what are you saying, Doc? What are you saying in English? What I'm saying is, I don't care what your belief system is. Your belief system is like a glass of ocean water that you go to the ocean and you take and you dip into the ocean and you take out everything that you believe is in that glass. Everything that you don't believe and don't know is in the ocean. So the ocean represents the amount of information you don't know. Me too. I'm in the same glass of water as you. So I just know it. So the difference between enlightenment is the fact that you know you've been lied to. And you know everything is lie. You know. Now, you may not know what's in the ocean, but you know the shit that's in your glass, that ain't the ocean. You know how much bigger the freaking ocean is than a freaking glass of water. So the shit you know, I can put in a glass of water. And the shit you don't know is in the freaking ocean. And you're going to tell, come on, man, stop playing. So we got a lot of shit to learn. So the Draconians, they know this shit. Now, remember, I was born with this. I didn't have to go research this. Everything that I'm teaching you, it comes to me automatically. It's just like it. That's why I tell you guys watch like the Wheel of Time. So your purpose is a part of what is called the National Economic Security and Recovery Act. It's called NESARA, NESARA. Now, as I said before, now that we've proven tonight, the Thalemic Order of the Golden Dawn, why your boy Hitler was so powerful, where he had assistants, as do all geniuses. Your boy Bezos has assistants. All of the dominant culture, they have assistants. Mark Zuckerberg has assistants. Elon Musk, he is their assistant. You ever heard Elon Musk talk? Go to YouTube and listen to him talk. Tell me if you understand the word he's saying. Now, to me, it's really very, very clear and it's very obvious. What's the point, Doc? What's the point, my brother? The point is, you can get all this information about the fact that you are a manufactured entity, or there is a manufactured avatar that allows you to exist in a fake world, which you think is this world. This world is a holographic projection of your vivid imagination. Now, I'm going to prove to you when we get into, later on tonight, the Latin Vulgate and the Stramineus Homo, or Homo. The Stramineus Homo, which is the Latin phrase which means man of straw, man of security, meaning S-U-R-E-T-Y, debt or Man of no substance, man, woman. If you go to Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 1421, and read Black's Law Dictionary. You can Google Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 1421. And you will see this. The straw man is a front, a fictitious third party who is put up in the name of the original party to take part in a transaction, a play, drama, holographic image, whatever word you want to use. That's you. It is one who acts as an agent for another for the purpose of taking title to real property and executing whatever documents and instruments the principal may direct. A strawman is a person who purchases property for another in order to conceal the identity of the real purchaser or to accomplish some purpose otherwise not allowed in the real world. Now let's go to Webster's dictionary. We just read Black's Law. Now Webster's dictionary, I'm reading from Webster's Cottage Dictionary, defines the term straw man, that's you, as a weak or imaginary person or opposition set up only to be easily confused. A person set up to serve as a cover for a questionable transaction. So what transaction are you engaged in, brother? See, the straw man, let me continue reading from Webster's dictionary. You should be asking, who the hell is Webster? You already broke down Noah Webster. And if you want to really hurt your brain, Google, who is Noah Webster's daddy? And stop playing with my emotions. See, the straw man can be summed up as an imaginary. You think the metaverse, this shit just got here? You think Zuckerberg is that smart that he's going to create a whole other altered universe for you to go buy NFTs and a fake, you can become just like in the movie Avatar. You could be here. I could be sitting in my house in Texas. I can go into the metaverse, my brother. I could be driving a Lamborghini in the metaverse. I could be living the dream. My life sucks in the real world. Nigga, what is that in the real world? So this is going into Dante's hell. So the metaverse is taking you deeper into hell, a.k.a. a fictitious world. Oh, we didn't even finish. We didn't even, remember, this is the introduction. See, the definition of the word straw man? It continues with the word passive stand-in for a real participant. So you are a stand-in. The word straw man means shadow. What does my name mean? Because I means shadow. So you are the shadow of a man. I am a shadow of God. That's what my name means. So it means extension of. Stand in for. So I'm standing in for God. Which is why I'm sharing with you the information that God is sharing with me. Remember, none of this shit I get from, I research stuff so you can go. I know you're not going to believe me just because I say it. I wouldn't believe me anyway. I don't believe nobody. Somebody tell me, hey, Doc, it's going to rain tomorrow. I watch the news. I don't believe the weather, man. I look shit up for myself. If you tell me, all dogs go to heaven, am I going to believe you? I ain't going to disrespect you and say, man, get out here with that crack bull. I'm going to say, okay, brother, that sounds great. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go look this shit up. Why? Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you crack an egg from the outside to assist the chicken in the inside to get out, the chicken will die. However, if the chicken on the inside can crack the egg from the inside, the chicken will live. So I'm making you aware that you got to crack the egg yourself. That's why I do everything myself. I like talking to people. I like researching stuff, reading books. But at the end of the day, I got to crack the egg from the inside. Why? The kingdom is in the inside. Govern and grow. The only way that you don't know is if you don't grow. I just gave you enough information today just to make you dangerous. Because the word straw man really means shadow. It means go-between. It means a front or a blind person that is regarded as a non-entity. Damn. So they tell us that's who we are. Now, how do you know you're a straw man? In order to be a straw man, you must have a manufactured certificate of origin. You have to be a straw man. Now, a straw man is subject to government rule because a straw man is the government's creation. A straw man is subject to liabilities, to debts, to obligations. That's why the government has power over you because you still are engaged in the come out. Tonight, we break down what it is, how to get rid of it, or do what I do, how to use it to your own benefit. They created it, so I'm going to monetize it. Been monetizing it. I'm just getting started. I'm just scratching the surface. I'm already in the mill. This time next year, I should be at least at 10 and keep going. Why? Now that I figured out the 3 layers, which is what we're breaking down, that's the whole point of the 5 pillars. This is the 5 principles. The word pillow means principle. But I just can't say the People Development Center really is the God Development Center. But I can't scare y'all by putting the word God up and then niggas will tap out. Your brain was... Now, a straw man means anyone who has a manufactured certificate of authenticity written in all caps or last name first. Anytime a last name is listed first, it is not identifying a real living person. That's why in the military, they always call you by your last name. Yo, Private Rogers, get your ass over here, boy. They always call you by your last name first. Let's go a little further. The rules of grammar, in the rules of grammar, it states anything that is written, the IRS tax code states, in all caps, if your name is John Adam Smith, John Quincy Doe, Susie, Rebecca Jones. If it's in all caps, it means all appellants. It means I'm identifying a deceased or a fictitious corporation, straw man. A deceased or fictitious. It's very important, brothers and sisters, because all of the government agencies are always written in a form that has what is called an appellate, A-P-P-E-L-L-A-T-E, form or name. Very important. Now we continue going down the rabbit trail to help you see that I don't recommend you do what the Moors do. I don't recommend you ride around with, no license plate, throw your Moors flags. I don't recommend you do Umar Johnson and, go after black people because we house Negroes. I know nobody who volunteered to be a house Negro. I know nobody who said, hey, I want to set up an all caps name state. I don't know nobody who looked God in the eye and said, I'm going to do Jude 3 like the angels did. I'm going to leave Jude 3, Jude 6. I don't know nobody. Now, there are some. I remember Jay-Z, Kanye, all of them, do as thy wilt. F God. They said, God, F you, you sorry mother be. And they Jude 1, remember, there's only one chapter in Jude. Jude 1:6, let's go to 5. Jude 1:5. Although you are fully aware of this, I want you to remember that after Jesus had delivered his people out of the land of Egypt, he destroyed those who did not believe. So remember, what I'm getting ready to share with you, you can reject it or you can accept it. Meaning, to accept it means you're going to research it. It don't mean you just go, oh, well, Doc said it, so I'm just going to go along. Man, don't do that. I don't believe me. The shit me tells me, I look that shit up too. Verse 6. And the angels who did not stay within their own domain. Everybody got a domain name? Oh, damn. Why do they call it domain name? We on the World Wide Web, and you got to get a domain name. Why? But all those who did not stay within their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in eternal chains under darkness. That's why you can't understand shit I'm saying. You're like, what the hell is he saying? I don't understand. The doc said, what did the Negro say? I thought he said that, yeah, I know. I've been there too, bro. I ain't mad at you. Some of y'all just want to go with that Popeye. I mean, not you personally. Other people who listen to this show later, none of you high vibration like Tugolans, but the other Negroes, they just kept under chains in darkness, bound for judgment. Jude 1:6. There's that number again. 1:6. But what is it saying, Doc? Well, let me read it to you in the basic English version. It says, and I remind you of the angels. Angels are angles. Angles is sacred geometry. That's all it is. This is all cymatics. In other words, this is how do you bend light. This is all about. That's why there's a Department of Corrections. Because they believe that I need to correct you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Why I got to correct you? I remind you of the angels who did not stay within the limits of authority that God gave them, but they left the place where they belonged. God has kept them securely chained in prisons. Come on, preacher. P-R-I-S-M. Or prisons, P-R-I-S-O-N. Of darkness. How much of the electrical magnetic spectrum can you see? I'm asking for a friend. How much? Well, according to the electromagnetic spectrum, less than 1%. Remember that ocean cup analogy I said earlier? Go to the ocean, take a big-ass cup. In fact, get you a gallon jug. Go down there to the ocean. Fill up that gallon jug of water, my brother. Fill it all the way to the top, my sister. Take that gallon jug of water. Go back to your vehicle. Sit it on the hood and look at it. That's all the shit that you know is in that gallon. Then turn around and look back at the ocean again. And see that big-ass, vast ocean? That's the shit you don't know. And you walk around here with air in your chest? Come on, bro. Come on. Stop playing. These he kept in eternal chains under darkness, bound for the judgment, waiting for the great day. Brothers, don't be one of them. Sisters, don't be one of them frequencies, waves of vibration that due to your arrogance, I mean, not you personally, but because you know. Every day I wake up, I tell the Big G, Big G, I'm a bad man, Big G. Big G, I know a lot of shit. But a Big G, I don't know shit. Please expand my consciousness. I said, well, just as the Bible says. The Bible says, I believe. Yeah, my unbelief. How in the hell can you believe and have unbelief? I'm asking for a friend. The Bible even says it. It says, I believe. But then it says, source code. Let me see, where's that at? That's in, I know that's in Matthew or Mark, one of them. That's in, let's look it up. Oh, yeah, Mark 9. I was close. Mark chapter 9, verse 24. Immediately, this is after, it says, Jesus echoes, all things are possible to him that believes. Ooh, wait. That's Mark 9:23. How many things are possible? How many? It says all things are possible to him that believes. I like the word no, but we're going to go to the Bible. Him that believes, because remember, somebody rewrote the Bible so that way they can dumb it down so your ass can vibrate on a high level. So don't believe, no. So all things are possible to him that know. All things are possible to him that believe. Because remember, believe means pistis pistu and paito, to induce yourself to believe from the words that come from within. Immediately, the boy's father cried out, I do believe, help my unbelief. When Jesus saw that the crowd had come running, he rebuked the unclean spirit, you deaf and mute spirit, he said, I command you, come out and never enter this man again. Mark 9:24. So even though we're in a good space, there's a bigger, better space. Brothers and sisters, you're in the right space at the right time. Whether you choose to continue with us tonight and everybody that's a part of the People Development Center, remember all this shit is being recorded. You can purchase it later for $5,000. Right now, all 5 modules are $2,000. I mean, it used to be $1,000. So like always, the earlier you get in, the better. Now, the modules were $250 each back in October of last year. So if you got in then, use a smart cookie. And the modules now are $500. I said two of $250, now they're $500 for each module. At the end of this month, they go to $1,000 for each module. Again, if you don't get this information from me, because whatever frequency wave vibration you are on, just remember all this information, you can research this by just re-listening to this message. Because in this message, I put in pretty much the name of everything that we're going to be talking about. Now, I don't research anything the way everybody else do. That's why I'm able to find, I'm going to use the word, a deeper level of understanding than, other people can find. So I just recommend, especially if you go to like a different search engine other than Google. Because remember, use Google, but then go to like Dog Pile and, look at what, Dog Pile has for that same search. Because remember, there's a lot of other search engines besides Google. But Google is pretty much, top of the line. But just remember, brothers and sisters, you have a lot of options. Research some stuff on, Yahoo. I like DuckDuckGo. Research some stuff on DuckDuckGo. Remember, Microsoft got their own, what's it? I think it's Bing. I haven't used that one lately, but don't sleep on DuckDuckGo. They put up some very interesting stuff. So a lot of times I would research stuff on Google. Then I also use some of the other, there's really 3 major. Everybody in Google, make sure y'all check out Yahoo and DuckDuckGo, Dogpile, and Google, and then look at the different results that you get back when you type in some of the phrases that we use during today's message. Tonight we continue as we break down what really happened June the 5th in 1933 and what and who Franklin Delano Roosevelt is. And we really, really want to break down the IRS NFTs because that's where they are going, except now it is public, out in the open. What Franklin Delano Roosevelt did in 1933 was secret when he required and he confiscated all gold property that every American had was confiscated by the United States government. Why would the government confiscate everybody's gold and give it to the Federal Reserve? Well, we break that down by dissecting HJR, House Joint Resolution 192 of June the 5th of 1933. Brothers and sisters, it has been an honor and a privilege to be able to break bread with you today. I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. We're going to see you all at the top. God bless.